But I want to ask you another question. As you look at the goals you want to achieve in your personal life, your financial life, your social contribution. I believe we live in the greatest country in the world, and Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. So I'm going to ask you about goals in 3 areas, but I want to ask you another question. And I've been reflecting on this because I'm a 27-year cancer conqueror because of God's grace and mercy. I gave a presentation about 3 weeks ago. The reason I gave that presentation, I was at Cleveland Clinic. I was in the hospital gown and everything, and they were going to do a procedure on me. And they told me to be prepared for it, and they came to talk to me that evening, and I went in the bathroom, looked in the mirror, Wes, and I saw 2 X's, one over here, this side of my esophagus. I said, hey, why do you have these 2 X's on my neck? And they said, well, we're going to radiate your spinal area. I said, I know cancer spread from my T1 to it is eating 40% of my T1 vertebrae, yes, but it's non-metastasized to T1, T2, T3, and the C7, and your spine, he said. So you might not be able to speak when you come out. I said, you gotta be kidding me. He said, no. So I sat there for a moment. I thought about it. I called my kids. I said, listen, they said that this might be my last conversation, that you hear my voice. I want to tell you all that I love you. Got up on a conference call. And they said, what about you now? And I started thinking, 2 things. How many of you know if you had your life to live over again, you could have done more than what you've done thus far? Raise your hands, please. That proves the point that what we do and what we accomplish in life is only the tip of the iceberg of what's possible for us. And so I decided at that time that I'm going to give a motivational speech. If this is my last night, I'm going down talking. So I got my phone out, in my gown, medical instruments going off. And in fact, you can still Google it, Les Brown, or in the hospital, and you get to watch it later on. But doctors coming in, nurses giving me my shots to prepare me. I'm crying, I'm a pain punk, you know. I said, have you ever had anybody crying when you gave them a shot? She said, no. I said, what about faint? She said, no. I said, get ready. But I spoke that night for an hour and a half, thinking that it might be my last. And one of the things that I'm doing now is encouraging people, live like you're going to die. Because we're going to. Nobody's figured out how to get out of here alive. Am I right? Yeah, I remember when I was with my former wife. We were in Las Vegas, at a table with Frank Sinatra, and I heard him say to a guy, live each day as if it were your last, because one day it will be. And so as you think about your goals and dreams, I want you to think about some personal goal that you'd like to achieve. My first personal goal, and Wes Smith, who I consider the greatest ghostwriter on the planet, who wrote my first book and second book, Live Your Dreams and Not Over Till You Win. Give Wes a round of applause. You're going to be hearing from him. Now, Wes, how old are you?
65.
65. He's still in diapers. I'm 74, okay? Now,
You look younger than me.
I look much younger than you, yes, dude, because I use mascara to cover my gray. Now, you're going to need a paintbrush, and you're going to need a paintbrush, all right? But I can hook you up. I spoke at the Georgia Dome before 80,000 people. And write this down. Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. 80,000 people. And at the end of my presentation, a lady came to me and said, Mr. Brown, do you have enough energy for another speech? I said, no, I'm tired. She said, we can pay your full fee of $70,000. I said, the Lord is able. People say money won't make you happy, but everybody want to find out for themselves. So they took me over to the Georgia World Congress Center, a very intimate setting. Charles and people were very close to the stage, and so I looked in. I said, excuse me, I said, I need to go to the restroom and freshen up. So I went in the restroom, you know, Marie, and I was freshening up, getting my mustache together. I've been sweating a lot. I have even 3 gray eyelashes. What's up with that? I got them too. When I came out of the restroom, standing at the edge of the stage, the lady said, oh, there he is, Les Brown. So she wanted everybody to know that she knew me. So I came up on the stage, she kissed me on the cheek. I kissed her on the cheek and left this big black smudge on her face. So I didn't know what to do, so I just sat down. Right? And so people looking at her, she's looking all doofus with this big black smudge on her face. So she looked at me, and people say, there's something on your face. She said, what are they saying? I said, I don't know. So finally one nosy lady came up there. Nobody asked her to come up there. Gives me the Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor, and gives her a mirror. She looks in the mirror, sees the black smudge in her face, and she says, how did this get here? I said, I don't know. You think maybe this rubs off? So now I use waterproof Mademoiselle, all right? Sometimes a man has got to do what he's got to do, you know? When I was younger, you'd come to an event, and you're looking to see all the pretty ladies in Hot 74. I'm looking for the nearest restroom. That ain't right, God, that ain't right. Okay, I'm sorry I got issues, whatever. So what I want you to think about, the goals in the personal area. My first personal goal was to buy my mother a home. I'm one of 7 children that my mother took in as foster kids, and then ultimately she adopted us. I always say whenever I speak, I stand on the stage because of 2 women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. Mama worked on Miami Beach for wealthy families. I remember going with her, looking at these big, beautiful mansions, saying, Mama, what is it, Leslie? I said, one day, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. How many of you have somebody special you'd like to do something for? Raise your hands, please. Once you think about that, share with you how I did that. And Mama cooked for these families, and we ate the food left over from the families that she cooked for. She kept her children, and we wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that she kept. And I remember driving her in North Miami Beach area, Marie, and she saw this big, beautiful home. I drove her down this area purposely, and she saw this home and said, hey, whoa, slow down, Leslie. And I said, what, Mama? She said, that's beautiful. I would give anything to live in something like that. She said, if I lived in a home like that, I'd feel like Mrs. Rockefeller. She's talking about John D. Rockefeller's wife. Miami Herald did an article about it. I said, you really like that? She said, yes. And I decided that I was going to get that for her. Now, what I did, and I'm sure many of you are doing it, I encourage you to get a 3x5 card. On one hand part, I have Matthew 7:7, ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened. And the flip side, I wrote down, I give thanks that I've purchased this home for my mother, it's fully furnished, and everything's paid for. So one single goal that you want, write it as if it has already happened. You must call forth those things that be not as though they were. And next question is, next thing is, don't ask yourself how you're going to do it. I want you to think about a goal beyond your comfort zone, something that will challenge you. I found that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people do what I did, aim too low and hit. I didn't do what I'm doing now for 14 years because I don't have a college education, because when I was in the 5th grade at Douglas Elementary School in Miami, I was put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade. I failed again when I was in the 8th grade. But I had this high school teacher who did an interruption. Let us say together, interruption.
Interruption.
How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. I never forget when I was in this class, I eulogized him, Mr. Leroy Washington. We called him the great communicator. And I was in this class looking for a friend named MacArthur Stevens, and he said, young man, go to the board and work this problem out for us. He was a new instructor there. And I said, oh, sir, I can't do that. Why not? I'm not one of your students. I'm just here to see MacArthur Stevens. He said, go to the board and work the problem out anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley, who's smart. He's DT. He said, what's DT? He's a dumb twin. And they erupted in laughter. And I said, I am, sir. He came from behind his desk and looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. That was an interruption. He shocked me. Mama said, Sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you. How many know words can't hurt you? Raise your hands, please. And very deeply. But when he said that, he interrupted the story I believed about myself. What we do as entrepreneurs, as salespeople, as coaches, as speakers, what we do is interrupt the story that people believe about themselves. I want you to write this down. When you're presenting, if you're involved in sales, you're presenting as an entrepreneur, you're talking to investors, write this down. Distract, dispute, and inspire. Distract, dispute, and inspire. It's very important as we look at ourselves as business people, as individuals who have a goal and dream, have a product, have some innovation, or a leader, a person who wants to make a difference in your community. I used to be a state legislator. I was a community activist. I was involved in broadcasting. And Mr. Washington taught me three things that's very important. He said, Mr. Brown, he said, develop yourself. I said, what do you mean? He said, I want you to listen to this. He gave me a motivational message. It was by a guy named Earl Nightingale called The Strangest Secret in the World. He said, I want you to listen to this, retrain your thinking. I said, why? He said, what do you want to do with your life? I said, I want to buy my mother a home. I want to be able to take care of her. She adopted us, and I want to pay her back. He said, you don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. He said, I want you to listen to this on a regular basis. I'm going to give you some videos I want you to watch for 21 days as you think about your goals and dreams. This is your homework. 1, Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. Second one, You Deserve. That's a PBS special. First one I did, I got a Grammy for that. The next one, It's Possible. That's another PBS special that I did. And the third one, Getting Unstuck. Why? Our conscious mind controls 5% of our minds. But our subconscious mind, it's where all of the behavior comes from, out of the subconscious mind. The conscious mind sets the goals. The subconscious mind achieves the goals. As you listen to this on a regular basis, it's going to go past the conscious mind to the subconscious mind. I started listening to Earl Nightingale. You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it. Zig Ziglar, if you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. Jim Rohn, when the end comes for you, let it find you conquering the new mountain, not sliding down an old one. I listen to these every day. Why? Between the ages of 0 and 5, according to Dr. Martin Seligman from the University of Minnesota, he wrote a book called Learned Optimism. According to our environment, our circumstances, the conversations that we hear, the things that we see, between 0 and 5, we determine what's available to us and what's not available to us. Between 0 and 5, and those behaviors follow us for the rest of our lives. You know, one of my favorite books says, forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forth into those things which are before. Yeah, that's nice. However, there's a book, a movie, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard something that was profound. It was a movie with Tom Cruise called Magnolia. I've never seen it, but this jumped out at me. It was a quote that said, we might be through with our past, but our past is not through with us. How many of you know that to be true? Raise your hands. That there are things that you experience, things that you go through, that you take into the future, that if not dealt with, that will compromise your potential to achieve your goals. One of the things when I came into the motivational industry, it was based upon information, the book, Think and Grow Rich, Burning Desire. And I came in with, if information could change you, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. How many of you know that to be real? Okay? Yeah, and if you're a speaker, they don't bring you in for the information, they can Google the information. The key is to create an experience with your story. And all of you are in a position right now, we're going through a major transition in history. Write this down. Knowledge is the new currency. Knowledge is the new currency. When you can tell your story, and with your knowledge and your experiences, and make an impact in people's lives, train people how to begin to overcome their past, and transform people individually and collectively, the possibilities as an entrepreneur, because you are the storyteller of your business, are unlimited in terms of the customers that you can attract. My customer base it consists of millions of people, but just on my Facebook, 1.2 million people. Each, and write this down, each email has potential value to you a year of $2,000 to $3,000 a year. That's what Malachi has converted. $2,000 to $3,000 a year. That's your customer base. And those emails are very important. And so I spent time working on my mind. Warren Buffett, who was asked a question in the middle of the recession, what's the most important investment we can make at this particular time, Mr. Buffett? And here's a guy that has billions of dollars in real estate, as you know, and billions of dollars in the stock market. And he said the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Warren Buffett, I believe, is a saying, if you want to become successful, this wealthy man my mother worked for, heard him talking to his son David. He said, watch successful people and do what they do.